All right. I don't really think y'all want to be here, so I'll keep this short. It'll just be like 5 minutes, and then I'll let y'all go. Or actually, no, it's another performance, sorry. Well, actually, I have extended time, so we'll go 7.5 minutes. Hi, I'm Harrison. You've probably heard that a lot. You probably know me from my out-of-uniform jackets. Sorry, dude, I'm sorry. Or as the guy who brought the safe for anything but a backpack day last Friday. Or the one who blurted something out at the wrong time. And yeah, that all about checks out. But today, I want to talk about the side of me you don't see, and a part that I've never really acknowledged out loud. I have anxiety, OCD, depression, and ADHD. For those of you that know me, I'm sure the last one is the biggest shocker of that list. All in all, those four go together like PB&J if you have a peanut allergy. Fantastic Four, if you will. But I'm not here to give a sob story for your sympathy, or just trauma dump my whole high school. Instead, I'm here to talk about what living with treatment-resistant depression is like, and why it's worth persisting. On the outside, my life looked good. Loving parents, good school, financial stability, great friends, and a caring family. It probably seemed like I should be just fine, but depression doesn't care if you have it all. I didn't go through any big trauma or tragedy, and for a long time that made me feel guilty, like I didn't deserve to be depressed. But mental illness doesn't need a reason. I did everything right: therapy, goals, good grades, no drugs, staying healthy, and surrounding myself with great people. I thought I'd finally become who I wanted to be. I had chopped away at the thorns, hoping to unveil the blooming rose in the thorn bush. But the rose I unearthed wasn't blooming. It was wilted and hollow. I was left with a void that no achievement could fill, and a darkness that clung to me no matter how high I climbed. That realization hit me in my sophomore year, when I was later diagnosed with depression. At one point, I wanted to kill myself. I didn't have thoughts of self-harm. I didn't struggle with ideation. I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to die. If that's uncomfortable to hear, it was even harder for me to say out loud, especially in front of all of you. But I said it that bluntly on purpose, because when we soften the language, we make it easier to ignore. We tell people that what they're feeling is too shameful to name, and that shame keeps people silent. And silence can be deadly. So if you think someone you love may be suicidal, don't ask if they're okay. Ask them, are you thinking of killing yourself? Because if those words are hard for you to say, imagine how much harder they are for the person living it. Saying it for them gives them permission to be honest. And that honesty can save their life. I know that because I've seen what happens when it doesn't. My second cousin took his own life. I didn't know him well, but I'll never forget his funeral. I'll never forget his mother's wail of agony as they brought his coffin to the crematorium. That sound will never leave me. Because suicide doesn't just end one life, it shatters dozens of others. Unfortunately, this tragedy is not unique. Every 43 seconds, someone dies by suicide. And by the time I finish this speech, 10 people will be gone. I almost became a part of that statistic. I've seen countless doctors and taken even more medications, but to no real avail. Each failure left me more defeated and pessimistic than the last. Why would I get my hopes up just to be disappointed like last time? Despite those thoughts, there was always a part of me that was still optimistic. Like a little kid that still believed in Santa, despite seeing Santa as present in his parents' room, or in my case, my dad's Amazon history. Regardless, it shouldn't be there. It doesn't make sense given my circumstances, and yet it still persists. And because of it, so do I. Call it what you will, a glimmer of hope for a better future, or the indomitable human spirit. But even with that small spark of optimism, I felt swallowed by futility nonetheless. But thinking about the people I love, my parents, my grandparents, my friends, my furry little Pomeranian Loki, who sheds way too much, reminding me why I had to keep going. If I had taken my life, my parents would have taken theirs, and my grandma, who has dementia, would have had to relive my death over and over again. As Nietzsche said, he who has a why to live can bear it almost anyhow. They are my why, and knowing how much they needed me is what kept me alive. I needed to be strong for them, and that is how I turned my pain into purpose. People often say I would die for the people I love, but for me, it was the opposite. I had to live for them. And I wasn't alone in that, not really. When I was in residential therapy junior year, all the way in Wisconsin, Ian and Henry, Ian right there, Henry right there, gave me a care package. It was packed with gifts and letters from countless people I wasn't even close to, took the time to write me letters. I mattered to them. I didn't even know it. Ian and Henry put memes in a Google Drive folder so I wouldn't be bored in Wisconsin. They hopped online even though they knew we were 0-3 and were going to be sleep deprived. They were there. They didn't try to be my therapist. They didn't try to fix me. They were just my friends. More importantly, they cared. And that made all the difference. I really liked what Lily said in her speech about her friends being the light in their cave. Henry and Ian were mine. They were the life jackets and floaties in my seemingly endless tread of water. Because living with depression feels like treading water in the middle of the ocean with no land in sight. Every day, your arms ache, and every part of you wants to give in. But somehow, you keep pushing. You keep treading water, and like Dory says, you just keep swimming. Even when the waves keep knocking you under, there's meaning in each stroke, each push, each effort to get through another day. Those small acts of perseverance are proof of hope and of your strength, even if no one else acknowledges it. Because trying itself is hope. It's you saying, I choose to keep going. I choose life. I choose to live. That choice, over and over again, is hope in action. Not everyone gets a happy ending. As cruel as that is reality. But you definitely don't get one if you don't hold on to hope. Because there's always a chance that tomorrow is the day you finally see the shoreline. So please, if you've ever felt like me, talk to someone. A friend, a parent, a teacher, coach, 98. The bottom line is, don't keep it bottled up. And I know telling the school faculty can feel terrifying, especially Mr. Davis. He's super scared. But he's actually a great guy, though, our school counselor. He's right there. He's there for you, just like he was and has been for me. And even if he isn't in his office, his free candy is, so you might as well stop by. We also have another school counselor, Miss Wisdom. I don't know her super well, but come on, her name's literally Miss Wisdom, so she's got to be able to help. Dean Cool, she really does live up to her name, because she is very cool. Pause for applause, I'm supposed to read that. She helped me tremendously when I was absent from school. She made sure I could keep going, and she'll do the same for anyone else who needs it. And Nurse Kimball is another great person to talk to. She cares so much about students, plus she's actually an underground opera singer, which just goes to show, if you take the time to look, people can surprise you. You can't help someone when you don't even know what they're going through. And that's why checking up on each other, asking questions, and really listening can make a difference you'll never see. Just because someone carries it well doesn't mean it's not heavy. You don't have to be someone's therapist to help them. You don't even have to talk about how they're feeling necessarily. Sometimes the last thing I needed was to be treated like a patient. I just wanted to be treated like a friend, like a human. So if you're struggling, I need you to hear this. You are not weak for feeling this way. You are not broken. You are not alone. And even if it's invisible to everyone else, it's real. Your mental health does not define you. Your actions, your choices, and ultimately, you do. Depression is real. Suicide is real. But so is hope. So even if you have to claw your way through, live. Because life is worth it. You are worth it. So keep treading water in the endless ocean. And like Dory says, just keep swimming. Because one day, you'll see the shoreline. Thank you.